Talking with Joey DeFrancesco. Joey, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good, not bad at all. You know, let me first start off by saying it's an honor to sit down and talk with you. There's a whole lot of people who like to do what you do, you know, and you've encouraged so many people in your style of playing and your mannerism in playing. And I just want to say thank you for what you are supplying the world with.
Oh, thank you. It's my pleasure. And I'm glad to be a part of this very exclusive a group of great people that I get to be around in this idiom.
Yeah, you actually have chiseled a niche in history because the music that you have presented to the world is something that for generations to come they're going to be able to listen to it and feel inspired and feel good about themselves. But how do you feel when it comes to, maybe you haven't thought about it, knowing that there's other folks out there who want to be just like you? They have no reference as far as anyone else. Mm-hmm. Someone presented them with your music and they listen to it and go, wow, I want to be like this man.
Well, that's a great compliment. I mean, the biggest form of flattery is somebody imitation, you know, imitating you. Or that's how we all learn to play, from different influences. Mm-hmm. And you pour all your influences in a funnel, and what comes out is you. It's what happens. You start sounding like yourself. And I feel very flattered. There is a whole new young generation of guys that are interested in this instrument because of what I've been doing. But I always preach the history of where I came from. So when I get around them, I make them do the homework because you got to learn the history.
What's one of the key things you tell them?
Well, you know, I didn't start this style. You know, I may have been.
You know, someone would never believe that, right?
Well, I have my own style.
Okay.
And I play my own way. I don't particularly sound like anybody. I might be reminiscent of some of the greats because that's what I learned. But you got to go back to your roots because I play a lot of things that it's hard to understand them without knowing the origin of where maybe they came from. And it's good to get your basics. Now, see, I came from, I had no choice. Having a father,
okay,
you know, John DeFrancesco, known as Papa John.
Papa John.
I had all those records in the house, and I had him to guide me in the right direction. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, he never forced me. I was just interested on my own. So the guys that are influenced by me, man, God bless them. I think that's great. And they hear all that fast, flashy kind of stuff too, and the young people they get very hung up in that, and that's not what I'm all about either.
Okay.
And to make those type of things sound good, you have to have a strong spiritual foundation. You don't just start playing. It's got to come from here.
That's so true. Well, tell us, what's the real Joey about? Because a lot of folks, they listen, they go to the concerts, and they hear what you're doing. They want to be just like that. But there's more to it than what meets the eye.
Well, yeah, I mean, first of all, you can never sound exactly like somebody else, no matter how hard you try. And you got to remember to have as much feeling in everything you're doing. You know, you can't play. I know guys that technically can do anything that any of us do, but it sounds sterile. It sounds cold. It doesn't have the. So you got to get your spirituality together to play it and play and find your soul and play from your heart, because that's what makes it special, because we all have a different way that we feel when we play.
Is it possible for you to play something that's cold?
I can't do it. You know, I can try to imitate somebody trying to play that way, but
it's not in you to just...
No.
Yeah. Because I feel that there's a certain vibe about you, you know, that when you sit down to play, it flows.
It's just an extension of my body.
Yes, it's a connection with the instrument.
Absolutely. And then, you know, a lot of guys are wonderful people, very nice people, and they have good hearts and all that. They have a rough time translating that into the instrument. So it's not to say that a person is cold, and then I know some cold-blooded people that are incredible and sound like an angel when they play an instrument. You know, but then they're rotten.
Otherwise.
So it's hard to, you know, there's a lot of artists I love for their artistry, but there's something else as a person.
As a person. Now, coming up in a household with a lot of jazz music, what were some of your favorites?
Well, I mean, it's real easy. Jimmy Smith was my favorite.
Okay.
Still, I put his stuff on, you know, and listen. Jimmy McGriff and Jack McDuff, Groove Holmes, out of the organ players. And then there's, you know, all the other influence, Oscar Peterson, Herbie Hancock, Miles Davis, John Coltrane, you know. And then the music that I listened to when I was growing up, Michael Jackson, and all that. That's all an influence on me.
Okay.
Too. So that's what makes each generation play a little different, because the music that is prevalent at the time of your growing up into, that always is going to be an influence.
Music always depicts an era in time.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. Well, what was one of the first things that you played? Do you remember?
Yeah, the sermon. Jimmy Smith's The Sermon.
You still remember?
Yeah.
Hear some of it? Okay, great. Great. The sermon.
Yes.
Yes. Wow. Wow. You know, what attracted you? Did you start on the piano at first, or?
No, organ. We had one in the house.
Okay.
And like the records were always playing, you know.
What
So
kind?
just-
What kind was it?
It was a Hammond B3.
I should have known. It's a Hammond B3. Now, when you're playing, what does it feel? I mean, because you play with so much spirit and so much soul.
Doesn't feel any different than me talking to you.
Really?
I'm just, it's just an extension of me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I often said that instruments...
It's like breathing, man.
Like breathing.
Yeah.
Instruments can't play themselves, but that music is actually wrapped up inside of you. And when you connect with an instrument, it allows what's inside of you to flow from that instrument.
Absolutely. That's a great analogy, yeah.
And some people, they want to play like another person, but they don't have the trials and tribulations that someone else had to be able to let that music flow, you know.
Absolutely,
Flow through
yep.
them. That's great. That's great. Now, like I said, there's a lot of young folks that are coming up. So you said the one thing that you would do to encourage them was to tell them to get the roots of the music itself, and so that they can kind of branch out from there.
There you go.
Okay. What about finger exercises?
I don't even get into any of that, because I never did any of that stuff.
Really?
Just play the instrument, because there's no real way to tell anybody to play. You're going to figure out a way to do it and get around it somehow, you know.
I know when I was in school, you know, we used to do some scales.
Yeah, you
cross
play with this
finger
fingering and do that.
It was always confusing.
Well, I play a chromatic scale with 2 fingers. You know what I mean?
That was too fast for the camera to catch. Can you slow it down? Whoa. Yes.
However you do it,
As long as it gets done,
as
huh?
long as it gets done. I don't know. Is that right or wrong? I don't know, but it was sounding.
It's about the sound. My
Yeah.
music teacher told me that. He said, forget the rules. I learned the rules. He said, but nowadays, it's about sound.
There's techniques on the organ. It's the little things that matter. These are the notes and everything, but there's certain things, like you have your expression pedal, otherwise known as a volume pedal, right here in the bottom with your right foot. That's what makes it soft and loud. You move it forward. Well, a lot of guys, when they tend to play, keep time with that. Then you start sounding like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Yeah, yeah.
If I did that, it would sound like that. I can be playing good, too. Makes you sound terrible.
Yes, yes, yes.
First thing I learned is keep my dad. Don't Keep time with the volume pedal. That's what your left foot is for. That's why there's pedals here. Put your bass there, hit the notes along with your left hand. So then you get this kind of expressive.
Make it look so easy.
Well, it is.
Except for you, it really is. Where do you see music going today with the technology that's out there?
Well, I'll always be, the main part of my sound will always be the organ. But there's some technologies that I'm very interested in with synthesizers. They're not even synthesizers anymore. They're more like simulators.
Yeah.
Because there's these, with the computer, it allows so much memory and processing. You have sounds, real string sections. They call them plugins for your computer, and you MIDI it into a MIDI keyboard. Now with all the organs being MIDI nowadays, you can just bring a laptop along on your gig and have, you know, thousands of sounds at your fingertips.
Just literally the modern day one-man band.
I really think that everything's gonna, as far as electronic music and electric instruments, it's all gonna be software oriented.
Really?
That's the future.
But does that take away from the real feel?
No, because the feel is still 2 keyboards, some pedals, and some drawbars. And years ago it was tone wheels, all these little wheels spinning every time you hit it, the contacts, and everybody's hung up on that. But like this instrument right here doesn't have any of that. You still get that sound. That's the beauty of technology. But no, I think as long as you have to play it and it feels right here,
How do you feel about the keyboards where you hit one note and it gives you the whole chord?
Oh, you mean like the autoplay feature?
Yeah, it gives you the whole,
Well, I know how to play the chords, so I don't use it. I don't know.
Yeah.
What do I think of that? That's great for somebody to have fun at home that's not real serious about it.
At home. Okay. What about the transposers on some of these keyboards?
Well, I don't use them, but some guys can play the hell out of an instrument in one key. They play every tune in one key, and good. They can't play other keys, so hit the button. I don't see anything wrong with it.
Okay. If you need to hit it, thank God it's there to hit, huh?
That's right.
Yeah. Great.
But I don't know how to do that because B3, when I was playing, learned how to play, you didn't have those features.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
You got to play that instrument.
Yeah, it's a workhorse.
In fact, I don't think this has one either.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, I was playing at church one day, and it was choir rehearsal, and I played all the keys too. And I said, well, since it's there, let me just hit it, little cheat button. I hit it and it jumped up 4 keys because I held it too long. I'm like, you know what? Stop the choir, but I can't deal with that. I just, everybody else was using it. I'm like, yeah, and I tried it. No. But you're right. If you need it, you use it. If you don't, you actually keep the sounds a little sharper.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great. Well, I'm glad you could spend some time and talk with us this afternoon.
It's my pleasure.
And would you like to give us a little something while we close out?
Sure.
Yeah, thank you. The one and only Joey DeFrancesco. We thanks God for the gift that He has given him.
Yes.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.